Hi friends, it's Julia. I'm here to share a layout that I created using my January 2017 Counterfeit Kit Challenge Kit. I started out with a sketch from Page Maps. September 2016 is one of the sketches there. And I think it initially was a 2-photo sketch, and I just had the one photo I wanted to use. So you can see I'm pulling out a lot of scraps. I only have a couple of full sheets of paper left in this kit. So I'm kind of, yeah, I'm scrounging a little bit, pulling out all of my scraps to see what's going to work with this layout. I decide to add one of my 4x6 pieces of paper to create a photo mat, but it feels kind of dark. So I pull out my scrap bin, my green scraps from my scrap bin, and I found actually a piece of paper that it matched one of the ones that I had in the kit initially. I had that green, it's a very pale green with paisley print on it. I had one of those in my kit and I've already used it, and so this is one that was from my color bin, my scrap color bin. And so I added it around the border of the photo, and then I'll place it on the darker brown. I think it just makes it pop a little bit more. I love using the page map sketches. She hasn't had a designer on her website for a while doing layout ideas, and I kind of miss that, but then I kind of don't miss that. I like having the sketches there, and I found that to be true with the Scrapbook Generation or the Allison Davis sketches. On her blog, she always had an inspiration piece that she created with the sketch, and I always wanted to follow exactly her color scheme and everything that she used. And so that's kind of how it went with the page map sketches. I wanted to do the same thing. So she's gone back to not having any designers put up their work on the website. It's just the sketches, and I like that. But I do miss seeing all the designers' work on it. Just using a scrap of paper there. I'm going to cut some banner tails on it, flag tails on it, so that I can use it behind the photo. For some reason, I did this layout kind of weird. Weird for me in that I picked it all up, and just the way that I glued it down, it made it kind of like so bizarre. I don't think I've ever done one, or if I have, I don't recall it doing it quite like this. You know, picking up just a few pieces and adding more glue, and I think it was just a funny way to do things. And I'm cutting down that dark green piece just a little bit. That blue piece with the floral on it, that is actually from Close to My Heart, and it's pretty old. I didn't even have it in a kit any longer. It's one that I had left over from a kit. Used to be when I got to a certain point, I would pull apart my kits and put them into my color bin or my color stash of paper. I have my just loose paper divided into colors, and so I would take them apart and put them in the correct color bins. Well, I came to the realization that their papers work really well together, even if they're across the lines. Like if you have this kit that this one came from, and 5 or 6, kits down the line, you may have another one that has similar color schemes. So I've learned I keep them together now. It just is a little better continuity for me to get them used up. So that is at the photo was taken, it's of my brother-in-law and his daughter and her husband. And it was taken at my father-in-law's house, and this was in January of 2015, and since then we've bought him new furniture, and it's amazing. That old blue furniture was just beat down and wore out and so old, and so good to see relive the memories of that pitiful old furniture and know that it's gone completely. So here I'm just placing some washi tape down beside, and that's exactly how the inspiration layout did it. I'm not varying up too much tonight from the sketch. I actually worked on this layout over the weekend when we had thunderstorms and rain moved through the area, and it poured rain all day, all weekend, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, which for us is not very common. Sometimes we'll get a sprinkle or a shower and it'll blow on past, or a thunderstorm and it'll blow right past. It doesn't just linger on top of us, and it did. And I'm not going to complain because, we live in a drought-ridden area, and it's always nice to have rain that is a slow, saturating rain, and just soaks through the soil to replenish our water supply in this area. I think one of these days we're probably going to be dry here. Here I go, ripping up my layout again, and you can see I tore the paper underneath, and so now I'm trying to get it lined back up. And I eventually do. I get that washi tape stuck down up under there, and I get everything fixed like I needed it to be. I always think about this when I'm watching these videos where I lift up things that I've already glued down. It kind of aggravates my sister, and I always think of her whenever I do this. It's like, oh no, she's going to be, aggravated with me for pulling everything back up again. It's just being silly, I know. It's really not going to affect her at all. She's not going to get uber upset about anything. And so on that washi tape, I just cut the banner shape on the end of it as well. I was going to say, I don't know what I'm doing, but I was looking at my chipboard sheet and pulling out this circle piece of chipboard, and I'm trying it around, and the green on this one, it's a turquoise green, but it's just not the right color green. And so I set it aside, and I'm still looking at it, considering if I'm going to try and use it. But I think I opt not to use. I know I opt not to use it. So there I'm adding down just a little phrase, piece of chipboard from Freckled Fawn. And then I had already decided on what my title was going to be. And so I had used that brown alphabet that I had added into my kit. And if you've watched me for any length of time, you realize I like to put my titles onto the edge of my rulers, and then that way I can play around with it and see where it looks good on the layout. I tried doing that whole wax paper thing, and it's just, I don't like doing it. So I would rather do it on the edge of my ruler. So I'm just tacking down the doily a little bit more so that alphabet, those alpha stickers don't flip-flop around. So every time I mash down, some of that ink or some of that glue comes up through the holes in the doily. And so that's the other portion of it in some little letter tiles, those snap letter tiles, and it just says memories. And so I decided to put it out there beside the word family, so my title is Family Memories. And I just mash it down really, really hard. Kind of burnish it into the paper, if you will. And that one will be a little bit more difficult to get completely down, only because it's across an edge of the cardstock, of the pattern paper on top and then the pattern paper on the bottom. I must be getting ready to write or do something because I took my glasses off. I've gotten to an age where it's not very difficult, or it's very difficult to see up close with my glasses on because I'm nearsighted, which means I can see things near to me, but I can't see anything far away. So there you go. I didn't make you stick around and watch that. But I did go ahead and glue down the wood veneer that said best. I glued down a brad. I put the white tape on. Oh yeah, that's the part where the camera turned off and I didn't hear the little beep, and so I kept doing what I was doing. So I missed a bit there. I just added a few extra embellishments up on the top right and the bottom left. Reverse that. Top left, bottom right. So I glued down the wood veneer that said best, so it's Best Family Memories. Put a brad, my last brad I put up there. And then I used the other half of that cork doily and just glued it down and then put a phrase sticker on top of that. Added some cork stars, and I'm looking for some phrases to go over on the right side of the picture. I've got one word sticker down there, and I'm going to add a couple more. And I'm just looking to see if there's anything on this sheet that's going to fit. And I find a phrase. And down it goes. Pick it and stick it. I'm glad that I found one that was the exact same size as the one on the bottom, because then the one that I put on top is the same size as well. So, and then I went ahead and added the wood veneers down at the bottom that say, "Oh yeah." And because I went directly to paper and there's no cardstock or anything behind this layout, this paper is buckling with the amount of wet adhesive that I used. Adding some sprinkles here. And I kind of wish I had covered up that wood veneer that says best, because I got some sprinkles on there and it's not quite so pretty. But that's okay. Layout's done. And I add the green Color Shine, Heidi Swap Color Shine that I added into my kit. And so that's it. That's the layout created. I'll show you some close-ups here at the end, and then I attach the photos here at the end as well, so you can see the close-ups there. Oh, sorry. I'm going to add some green enamel dots. And then over on the side where the doily's at, I used my roller date stamp to stamp the date of the event that we were at my father-in-law's house. And I think that's the only other thing that I did on this layout. So I'm going to add these enamel dots, and then the layout's going to be completely done. Anyway, I would love for you to hit the like button, and I would also love if you would subscribe. If you love to make kits out of your own stash, or you just love to be inspired to use your own stash, subscribe to me, because that's what I do all the time. I'm not one to have the latest and the greatest products, but I do like to use the stash that I do have and create layouts. Don't get me wrong, I love the new stuff and I would love to have new stuff all the time, but I find for my budget it's easier to buy the older stuff, or when the newer stuff gets a little older, so it's a little cheaper to buy. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Have a great day.